The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
The last time Peter Laviolette won a Stanley Cup, I was 12 years old, and I swear to you, the computer lab looked like a room full of rainbows. If you know, you know.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer, currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into the episode, we got to thank you and you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because it is your Canucks every damn day. And we're not here without you listening. So if you like what we're doing, man, oh man, help me make my children proud. Go subscribe and like on YouTube on the podcast side. If you'd be so kind, go follow us. Leave a 5-star review. Kyle, the Canucks have coaching search. It's in full gear. Patrick Levine already interviewing candidates. And I think there is a 69% chance that he's already talked to one of Rutherford's homies, Peter Laviolette, one of the most experienced coaching candidates on the market. I'm not sure if this would be a massive PR win for Canucks, but let's dive into it a bit. Could Peter Laviolette make sense for the Vancouver Canucks? I also want to talk about the Karma Police, baby. And with the Karma Police, are they after Elias Pettersson for what he said about William Nylander? We'll also get to some news and notes and Canucks lottery luck as well. Before we do all that, let me introduce my co-host. Fresh off of recording a Vancouver-only show with Providence, Kyle Bhawan. How you doing, brother?
I recorded the Vancouver-only show with Hash, and me and Providence record the B team. Okay, Trevor? Again, you said you're a big fan, but, you know, it's okay. Be a hypocrite even some more on this thing called your life, okay? It is what it is. And Trevor, man, look at your little tease for, like, what we're going to talk about with Pettersson and Nylander in, like, 15 minutes. Like, oh, what did Pettersson say about Nylander? Yeah, who are you working for, ESPN? Unbelievable, man. Your family, man. They must be so proud of you. Peter Laviolette, though, okay? Let's talk about it, because you and I, as hockey nerds, haven't spent more than 2 minutes talking about Peter Laviolette potentially being the coach of the Vancouver Canucks in 2025, 2026. Some people don't want that to happen. I feel as if a lot of people don't want that to happen, and the rhetoric is he's washed, he's old regime. And if people are new to the program, me and Trevor, 32 and a half years old, 31 and a half years old. Yeah, we're right there. 31 and a half. We have old people's backs here. Okay. It is what it is. You're all going to get old one day. And I'm in support of those same people. Like, they could still accomplish big things even with a bigger age. So Trevor, tell the people, like, why would you want Peter Laviolette? Can we start with some good?
Can we start with some good? I don't know. I guess when you look at Peter Laviolette, you know, he's one of the most winningest coaches in NHL history. He's won 846 career games. That ranks him 7th overall of all time. 846 wins and 562 losses. So, you know, the win-loss record, it's pretty darn good. A .589 winning percentage. In terms of coaches who have, you know, coached more than a season or two, it's up there with, you know, being one of the most winning coaches in NHL history. These are all good things, but what happened with the New York Rangers last year really scares me when it comes to Peter Laviolette. And of course, he came in the first year. He helped that team win a President's Trophy. But just the way everything fell apart this year does scare me with Laviolette. Now, that being said, if you look at the Rangers and what happened this year, again, the most dysfunctional team in the NHL outside of the Vancouver Canucks. How did JT Miller end up there, man? That's another story. But a lot of the drama there seemed to surround player movement, right? Chris Drury wanted to shake up the core. He asked Trouba to waive his no move clause. Trouba says no. You know, he's asking other guys for trades. And then all of a sudden, the veterans in that room are starting to feel antsy. And it felt like it seeped into the team this year. So some of that was out of Laviolette's control. Now, what you do fault Laviolette with was the fact that the Rangers were atrocious defensively, like one of the worst defensive teams in the NHL last season. And man, you bring that to the Vancouver Canucks and it's got some strong Bruce Boudreau vibes. So I know Rutherford likes Laviolette. I'm not saying Laviolette is Boudreau, but just based on how the Canucks are currently constructed, I don't know if a guy like Laviolette is the right fit for this club. just based on how porous the Rangers were defensively last season.
Trevor, I asked you a simple question. I said, say something good. Okay, because I
And
know,
did.
I know, I already know where the conversation is going to go from minute 5 to minute 10. I already knew it was going to be like, this guy. I don't want this guy. Get this guy out of here. We don't need this guy. Do the math. He's old. But Trevor, come on, man. You turned into an asshole so quick there, man. Honestly. Now, you did give him the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, oh, the Rangers, that organization was just as dramatic as the Canucks, and nobody could coach under those conditions. Blah, blah, blah. Excuse. But the truth is, it wasn't that long ago where he was kind of like Rick Tocchet, and that's putting up a very, very successful regular season. And, a little bit of playoff success in his resume, like, again, 12 months ago. Right? There's that. Like, he knows how to coach. Right? And I guess that's the thing with my next question. I wonder how much they consult with Quinn Hughes when it comes to who's going to be the next coach, because I feel like going in with a rookie or a young head coach or whatever, like, it obviously comes with its risk. Hey, if you look at the data, it comes with some rewards too, right? Those work hard and get the job done. But this hire has to be such a sure thing, because now we know it's Operation Quinn Hughes. Like, they don't want to trade this guy until 2027 if they have to. So it's like, impress Quinn Hughes. And something tells me that Peter Laviolette's going to, like, he might be in the fold just because of pedigree and how important next season is.
Yeah, and honestly, like, again, you always say something nice about him. He's had success with multiple teams. I think that's something you can safely say about Peter Laviolette, right? Obviously he wins the Stanley Cup with Carolina, and that wasn't the most talented team. But like you said, Kyle, I mean, our balls hadn't dropped last time Peter Laviolette won a Stanley Cup. So, and like I said, now we're balding. So, I mean, it's been a long time.
Crazy. That's called evolution.
But he goes from Carolina to Philly. He goes from Carolina to Philly. He leads Philly to a Stanley Cup final. He goes to Nashville. He leads them to a Stanley Cup final. He goes to Washington. He has some short-term success there. Then he goes to New York, leads them to a conference final. So, I mean, he's had success in almost every one of his NHL stops. Although his last 2 stops have just been short-lived, right? He gets 2.5 years in Washington before he gets the boot, because they go from an 100-point season to an 80-point season. And then a similar story with the Rangers, going from 114 points to 85 points. So, I think I'd have to dive deeper into exactly why is his message wearing off. But I think it's kind of situational, right? The Washington Capitals were an older team in transition. The New York Rangers were an older team in transition as well. So I don't necessarily fault Laviolette in that regard. So, but again, just how drastically things fell apart in those two teams. I'm not putting all the blame on him for that, but he does got to wear some of that as well.
Oh, he does. And this comment is, touching on that just a bit. Okay, this comment goes to Carmen. He says, there's a reason why Laviolette coached like 15 teams with no recent success. He's ass. Okay? It's a little rude, buddy. Okay, Carmen? Your parents could be watching this program too. Watch your language, okay? All in all, though, like, coaching multiple teams in the last, 10 years, what does that really say about you? I mean, I feel as if Rick Tocchet was, one of the longest tenured head coaches, at season's end this year, and he was a head coach for 2.5 years of one team. Like, everyone just moves and gets fired and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I feel as if the Laviolette thing makes absolutely no sense if you want to just stay there for a bit, only because, the contract would be so fat, wouldn't it? And, Aquilini, I just saw a picture, they're putting new seats into Rogers Arena. These guys are desperate for money. I know they're desperate for money. I don't know how much they want to, if it wasn't Rick Tocchet, I don't know how much they're willing to spend on, a expensive head coach not named John Cooper, okay? Or Bill Belichick. For real. And again, these seats are coming in. The billboards are out. So desperate. We had pardon my language, but the shittiest season in Canucks history. It doesn't get messier than this. For real. And 1 week after the season's over, they got billboards up across the city. Oh, renew your season tickets for next year. Get some season tickets at 20% and increased costs. Have some dignity, guys. Oh, but then it makes sense because, again, they're putting in new seats right now at Rogers Arena. It's holy. All in all, that has to lead to that conclusion, though, right? They're not going to pay Peter Laviolette Rick Tocchet money to maybe do that job successfully.
I would hope they wouldn't, right? You don't want them to pull a Jonathan Huberdeau. I know we're talking about coaches, but the Calgary Flames couldn't pay Matthew Tkachuk 10.5, so they paid Jonathan Huberdeau 10.5. to me, like paying Peter Laviolette $5 million because you couldn't pay Rick Tocchet $5 million kind of feels like that.
I just think Matthew Tkachuk didn't want to be there. That was the big thing. They
right, but my point is, and Rick Tocchet didn't want to be in Vancouver, but my point is, just because those guys didn't want to be there doesn't mean you give the next best thing that walks in the door the same amount of money, because often they are not the next best thing on the same level. So look, with Peter Laviolette, I guess he'd be expensive from the fact that, again, one of the most winningest coaches in NHL history. That's nothing to sneeze at. But he's had his last 2 stops between Washington and the New York Rangers were 4.5 seasons between those 2 teams. Like, that's a pretty short coaching stop. So, I mean, maybe that's a guy you get at a discount, but I think most of the fan base, I don't know if this is our Canucks trauma kicking in here. Like, most of us want to see maybe a younger coach grow the team, unless it is like a John Cooper, right? But that being said, the Canucks are in win now mode with Quinn Hughes. So
exactly
from that perspective, hiring Laviolette could make some sense.
Yep. Okay.
I'm not convinced it's the right decision. Just watching what happened in New York last year and what happened with the Washington Capitals a couple seasons ago.
But it's the right decision if this guy's a good one and done coach. Like, if you can get the most out of your players and impress Quinn Hughes, because Quinn Hughes, again, he wants to listen to like playoff energy. He wants to listen to the playoff crowd. He wants real wins. Like, he's not focused on like, oh, we had a great season this year with Laviolette, but I know it's not going to be that great next season, or he'll wear thin. Like, he's just sticking in the moment, and it's so important for this team to win this season. Like, it feels like we're all back to square one, where it's like winning is the bare minimum, but it's so important. Just having some level of success. And Trevor, like, again, I know we got to cut the break very short here, but it's like, how come you and I are not stressing that much over like this daunting decision? Like, this is huge. Like, who's gonna be the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks? As simple as, the 420 stuff and us just being hippy dippy about everything and voting for the Green Party. Okay, so I don't know if we're allowed to put that on record. Okay, anyways, I don't know if it's that, but I feel like you and I are not stressing enough about this. Like, this is scary territory.
Yeah, for me personally, whatever coach they hire, like, we're not going to know off the bat if this is going to convince Quinn Hughes to stay, right? Like, it's going to be too early to tell, unless they hire, like a Bill Belichick, then maybe it's a different story, or John Cooper. But I don't think we're going to know the minute this coach is hired, like, whether or not it's going to convince Quinn Hughes to stay, right? And, Peter Laviolette, again, American coach, long track record of winning, but hockey's a close-knit group too. Like, when Hughes can talk to a guy like Adam Fox, who played a couple of seasons there, even his old teammate JT Miller, to get some insight into what Peter Laviolette's like. So just because they hire the 7th winningest coach of all time doesn't mean Quinn Hughes is going to stay. Just because they hire an inexperienced coach like Malhotra doesn't mean Quinn Hughes is gone either. Maybe Malhotra's great. So I think we're not stressing, because just when they hire the coach, we're not really going to know. We can give our opinion on it, whether we like it or not. I think we've been, somewhat pro Malhotra. I'm a little bit more hesitant to a guy like Laviolette. Okay, maybe that's my Canucks trauma, but we're not going to know when this hire is made whether or not it's going to really change the direction of the Vancouver Canucks. Because, Kyle, we've done this dance before. We've changed coaches. We've changed management. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to the players in this team. And honestly, in this case, it's going to come down more to management and what they can do with this team rather than the coach they bring in my opinion.
Or just, wake up Elias Pettersson, man. We'll get to him on the other side, because I'm not gonna lie, like, seeing not Willander. I'm not even allowed to talk about Tom Willander anymore. Like, our Twitter account's getting roasted by a couple people because I compared him to Eric Lindros, and I'm sorry for being an asshole. I was just emotional, okay? Apparently, we're contributing to shitty media covering the Canucks in Vancouver and this toxic environment. We're not the media. This is just emotional. A Findu and a Canadian. I'm a Canadian too. A Findu and an Irishman. What are you, Trevor Beggs? Scottish, Italian? Is Beggs an Italian
Irish,
name?
Scottish, British, yeah, you got it.
Beggs a genie. Where am I going with this? Go Canucks, go. Trevor, who we shouting out?
All right, let's talk a little bit about Elias Pettersson, William Nylander, and NHL playoffs on the other side. You're listening to Locked On Canucks. Your Canucks every damn day, baby. See you in a second.
An award-winning mattress can change your experience. It happened to me. After years of uncomfortable sleeps, I recently switched to Bear Mattress, and the results were instant. Bear Mattress is designed with a focus on recovery, cooling, and pressure relief to upgrade your sleep and improve your overall quality of life. I used to deal with night sweats, but Bear's best-in-class cooling ensures optimal temperature regulation, which prevents overheating and helps me stay comfortable all night long. Bear offers a wide variety of mattresses, but to get the right one for you, take their sleep quiz that matches you to your perfect mattress based on body type and sleep preferences. Go to bearmattress.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout to get 40% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use my promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's bearmattress.com. Use my promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get 40% off site-wide. Bearmattress.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. One love to you and you and you and you. And also you and you as well. And yeah, one love to the second best dad in the world. Trevor Beggs, hit the like button. Make his children proud. Make my girlfriend proud, man. It's almost my 4-year anniversary with my girlfriend in a couple of weeks. You know the deal, Trevor. I'm a private person, bro. I'm a private person, but I'm going to hit a grand slam. Do the math, all right? Do the math. Let's get to a comment. Oh. This one comes from NGK, okay? Saying Sheldon Nyes. What am I saying? Matthew Nyes' offer sheet is more important than strategic nuance. Okay, I don't know what strategic nuance means, and if you're confused about this, this bringing up of Matthew Nyes, we're about to talk about Willie Nylander, and I've been watching more of the playoffs, and the Maple Leafs win yesterday, and Matthew Nyes, man, like what an incredible player, and I'm sorry, Trevor, shut me up if you want. RKO me through the table. I don't give a puck. But when I see this guy have success, I stress so much about the Vancouver Canucks not trading Brock Besser for a pick, not trading Suter for a pick in the top 60. You know what I'm saying? Like not prioritizing, like just having when you suck, keep your first round picks or get some more. You know what I'm saying, Trevor? Because I don't know what draft position Matthew Nyes was drafted in. I'm pretty sure it was in the bottom. It would have been in the bottom 15 of the first round or maybe early in the second round. I don't know. But this dude is a hell of a player already in a pressure cooker environment in Toronto.
Yeah, so he was a late second round pick in 2021. So 57th overall. A player that the Vancouver Canucks could have had. I may as well point that out. But, the Vancouver Canucks there in round 2 of the 2021 draft drafted Danila Klimovich, who, despite having a better season in the AHL this year, passed on Logan Stankoven and Matthew Nyes in the second round of that draft. So, I mean, look, that's just Jim Benning scouting for you right there. And look, 2021 was a weird year with COVID and how hard it was to scout players, but man, oh man, Matthew Nyes has turned into a great player for the Leafs. And when Matthew Nyes first broke in, I kind of looked at him as like, I don't know, size-wise, they're completely different, but like a Niels Höglander, right? Just a guy who works his rear end off, gets in the net, gets the dirty places, but has good hands. The only difference is Matthew Nyes isn't 5'9", 190. He's 6'3", 230. So it's a bit of a different situation, but he's just been such a good complementary player for that hockey team. And
so I mean,
look, it is why you got to be, better at collecting picks, better at drafting. And to the Canucks credit, you look at the first draft under Patrick Allvin, and they nabbed Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, and they nabbed DPD or Elias Pettersson. And honestly, if you get two pretty solid NHL players out of that, that's a pretty good haul. So, but they need more picks in the top of the draft. And maybe we'll touch on the Canucks lottery luck and where they go from here later on in the show. But I mean, look, you see a guy like that break out late second round pick, and it's a sign that you got to collect more draft picks. I haven't had the Brock Besser thing to it as much, but we've talked about it time and time again. They probably should have kept the first from Pittsburgh, and they probably should have traded Brock Besser and maybe even P.U. Suter for a draft.
Oh, they should have. They should have. They missed the playoffs. They should have. Like, that's part and why the season is such a failure. And like asset management is such an important thing. And you can get all-star level talent in the second round or late in the first round. You can. And Matthew Nyes, I'm telling you, that guy's a dog. And like, he's so good that when that team loses Mitch Marner, who also is pretty good, like he's a really good player. And in the playoffs, he's been playing better. He's a better defensive player. if they lose him, I just feel like Matthew Knies might just level up to another level with more responsibility. He just gives me that dog-like energy. Another guy who has dog-like energy is Willie Nylander, okay? He could have been a Canuck too, right? He could have been a Canuck too, but we picked Jake Virtanen. Anyways, this dude is just having a lot of fun in the playoffs. You know, he's sticking his tongue out after goals and being cheeky with it and having fun. And, you know, throughout the last couple of years, you know, again, watching Boston just annihilate Toronto, or you know whatever, all the noise around that team. I feel as if them being on TV so much also displayed not just agony, but the proof that William Nylander is their most clutch player. Like, the moment is not too big for him. Like, what a player. And again, I don't know why I'm comparing him to Pettersson today, but man, when I see him having so much fun out there, it's like, man, that interview that Elias Pettersson had like a week before last year's playoffs, or was it the eve before the playoffs, where he was even brushing on the topic of making more money than William Nylander because, you know, that's important for a rock star, or, you know, setting the what's the word I'm looking for? But yeah, he just had to brush on that comment and that question from Elliot Friedman. And we should have known. We should have known that something was off right there and then.
Well, Elliot Friedman, we know he's a Toronto guy, and maybe he knew what he was doing there. You know, pushing Pettersson in the direction to make that comment. But you know, it does fall on Pettersson at the end of the day. He could have just taken the high road and said, "No, it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is winning." But he chose to say that, yeah, it played into it when asked about whether or not it mattered that he made more than William Nylander, who again got paid $11.5 million. Pettersson gets paid 11.6. And, you know, maybe give us some small discredit to Canucks media, too. We got Max Miller from the Hockey News saying Elias Pettersson deserves more than William Nylander in an article from January 2024.
Buddy, we said pay Pettersson $14 million. At the beginning of last year, we don't give a ish because we think he's that good. Like, the best of the best from Pettersson, like, does give us a lot of value. And to me, is a better player than William Nylander when he's playing at his best. We haven't seen that in, like, what seems like a thousand days. It's been a long time. But Trevor, my question to you, and again, we're trying to find solutions. Like, is there a solution in Nylander having so much success? Like, is there like is there not intercompetitiveness, but like competitive nature between the two? Does he, you know what I'm trying to say? Does that drive him to be better? Because that's a humbling thing to see. This guy who, again, you touched on that question. You didn't dance around it, you know, with your confidence and your smirk, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it mattered. It was something that you wanted in your back pocket as, you know, being a rock star in Sweden. Do you think it motivates him at all that William Nylander's having all this success?
I sure as shit hope so, man. I mean, look, everyone's wired a bit differently, but you know, the thing about William Nylander in Toronto is he's not the guy, right? Austin Matthews is the guy. Then Mitch Marner's the guy. William Nylander, look, no one really flies under the radar in Toronto, but he didn't have to be the guy really until last year's playoffs when, you know, both guys were dealing with some injuries, right? And William Nylander stepped up and was their best player in those playoffs, and he's still continued to be the best player. So I think sometimes you need a moment to give you confidence. Pettersson's confidence hasn't been there in a long time. And look, maybe, I don't know, with Quinn Hughes being the alpha dog in Vancouver, I don't know. I think Pettersson, again, just need to take a slice of humble pie too, right? Like, you say things like, it matters to me to get paid more than $11.5 million. Again, just it's a bizarre thing to say, but you really just got to hope that Pettersson has, you know, learned from that, ends up being a bit more humble, less entitled, and works his ass off. I mean, that's all you can hope for. And if you don't believe that's the case, trade this mofo to town.
Oh, buddy. Yo, did he actually say it like that? Like, I forgot the exact quote. I gotta go back to the interview, but I just remember the answer being so disturbing to me as a Canucks fan, because it was like right before the playoffs. I'm like, yo, this shouldn't be put out right before the playoffs start. But luckily, like, the fan base here was so disinvested in game one against Nashville, you know, like, it was just nothing could go wrong. Nothing could go wrong. So you could kind of like sneak that under the rug. But man, it was so disturbing that I remember calling you right after, and like, we didn't even talk about it on Locked On Canucks because we even were like, we don't want to put this out there because it's just good energy right now. But man, just it was just something, because you heard Elliot Friedman kind of, remember when like Pettersson didn't sign his deal, and I feel like there was already noise surrounding Pettersson wanting to make more than Nylander, right? And like Elliot Friedman would say things like, "Oh, I like guys like that, like having them being competitive and blah 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 and all that stuff, and they care how much they get paid." And I get that stuff too, but that to me, like being vocal about your desires, to make whatever on a contract in a salary cap system in a team environment is just so stupid. It's just so stupid, and it's not good for energy, man. As again a voter of the Green Party, a hippy dippy guy like me, like we're all one, dude. One love, baby, and that's just again not really team like, not really cooperative. Okay.
No, I completely agree. And again, the quote was something along the lines of, Elliot Friedman asked him, William Nylander got paid 11.5, you just got paid 11.6. Did it play in your decision to want to be the highest paid Swedish player out there? And he kind of said like, oh, it wasn't the main thing, but yeah, like that was on my mind. It was something like that. So it wasn't just like, yeah, I want to make more than this guy in the shit, but it was an answer that you should not have said. Like, again, dude, be humble. Say it's about the team. Say it's about winning. Don't say I want to be the highest paid Swedish player of all time. Hopefully he's learned from that, and hopefully he's sipping the water that William Nylander's drinking from right now. Because man, oh man, this guy just put up 45 goals this year. He's had 3 straight 40-goal seasons, and he has 5 goals and 12 points in 7 playoff games so far for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maybe the Leafs luck's about to turn. I hope not. I know that the Canucks' luck didn't turn at the draft lottery on yesterday, whatever the hell that was, Monday. So with that pick, should they keep it? Should they trade it? Let's touch on that in a couple comments before we wrap up here on Locked On Canucks. Before we wrap up the show, we got to talk about my nuts, baby. And, you don't want to hear about my nuts. Let's talk about the nuts from wonderful Pistachios, okay? Because if you're looking for the snack that's both delicious and nutritious, oh, baby, pop those nuts in your mouth, okay? The nuts from
gargle them. Put those salty
what?
nuts in your mouth, those salty naked pistachios in your mouth, and gargle them. Get all that flavor. Cheek to cheek. Cheek to cheek. You know what? I'm not going to lie. The only thing I ever stole in this world, allegedly, was a couple pistachio nuts from Superstore when I was like 10 years old. Like you could like shop the bulk section.
Yeah.
My bad. Allegedly though, I didn't do that.
Matt, you stole pistachios, you didn't steal candy? Wow.
Because there's like a million. Okay, I'm sorry. Allegedly, I didn't do anything, Trevor. Allegedly.
Okay. Anyways, Kyle's a thief, but he stole nuts and not candy, so he's a healthy thief. With wonderful pistachios, come on, don't sell these. Just go buy them, baby, because they're the best. One of the highest protein nuts out there. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you keep feeling fuller for longer. Wow, let's talk about having nuts in your mouth, man. It's a problem sometimes. I like the naked nuts, man. The no shells variety, no teas. Just pop the nuts in my mouth. If you like the teas, the in-shell options are also a classic favorite. Whatever wonderful pistachios you like, make sure you get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Boom, bam. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
Boom, bam. Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, man. And I feel as if Elias Pettersson watched the last 15 minutes of our episode, he would probably high stick us in the face, Trevor. You ever been high sticked in the face, Trevor?
Okay, when I played ice hockey, I wore a cage, so no, nothing stands out. I did get high sticked in the face in ball hockey, but I wouldn't call it a high stick. I went into my crease behind my goalie to stop a ball, and my own teammate high sticked me in the eye.
Wow.
Thankfully, it wasn't that bad, but my eye did hurt for a couple days.
Damn.
That was like a boring Sean Monahan story right there. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. If there was some blood and you lost an eye, it would have been a better story.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that happened, but it is what it is. Okay, if it bleeds, it leads. Okay, I'm sorry. They program me, Trevor. Don't blame me. Blame teachers in BC. Okay, you know what? Okay. How about we blame the NHL being an institution, right? Being a business and being corrupt. Because it's been what? 55 years of this team never winning the draft lottery. I think only 4 teams have never won the draft lottery. Is that true?
I think it's a bit more than that. I was looking at the list earlier. It's Vancouver, Calgary, Anaheim, Nashville.
Seattle don't count. Vegas don't count. Don't bring them.
Vegas don't count. I think Arizona / Utah is up there as well. But yeah, it's like 5 to 6 teams, not including Seattle and Vegas.
And yeah, we've
Not
again, like, for a team that's only been to the Western Conference Finals 3 times, and to not ever get the first overall pick, let alone just like jump 10 spots to number 5 because you won the lottery. Like it's like come on, man, come on. When are we gonna get a little lucky here, man? And Trevor, I hate to do this, and sorry to the people, but just a reminder, just to prepare the people, okay? Can we just look into the future? When the Canucks do get to the Stanley Cup final the next time around, and the people are on the streets and doing their thing, and when we win the Stanley Cup finals, don't burn the city down. Okay, don't flip a car. Because karma's an itch. A bad itch. That's what the B word actually stands for, okay? I don't know if you knew that, Trevor. That's the definition. What's it? It's a bad itch. Do the math. Trevor,
Yeah.
Karma.
Yeah, that's why I hope Pettersson shakes that bad itch too, man. Man, oh man, the bad karma with wanting to be the highest paid guy ever.
Okay.
Shake that bad karma, man. Shake that itch and be humble, buddy. With the Canucks in the draft lottery, obviously not a huge surprise at a 98% chance of selecting 15th overall. But a bit of a slap in the face of the Islanders jump from 9-1, a team that's had the first overall pick now 5 times in their franchise history, an organization that's won multiple Stanley Cups. And of course, the Utah Hockey Club, who have existed for less than 12 months, they hop up from 14th to 4th in the draft lottery.
Oh my, I didn't even see that.
It makes you feel like the draft lottery is rigged, to be honest with you sometimes. But I guess you just gotta trust Scary, man. Trust us. That's what they always say. But Kyle, the question I'll ask you, we'll touch on it more here in the weeks ahead. But your thought right now on trade or keep the pick for the Vancouver Canucks at 15th overall?
Yeah, if Tom Willander doesn't sign by the draft, I don't know. Is Tom Willander the 15th overall pick for, like, I don't know, Matt Barzal or something? I don't know. Like, you don't take any roster players off the lineup and you just get Matt Barzal or something. So yeah, if they're packaging that 15th pick to go somewhere, I just hope it's not for like a risk. Or like, oh, this guy could pop off. Like, give me a sure thing. In a weak draft, is that possible? I don't know. But and isn't that something to Canuck luck, right? One of the weakest drafts, quote unquote, in recent history. We needed a number 2 center, maybe a number 1 center. Let's trade our first round pick. This first round pick might not even be worth ish. What a season.
What a season, man. I mean, sometimes I wonder if the Canucks go full nuclear, man. Like, not to go dark to end the show here, but like a guy like Dylan Larkin, you'd have to trade a Willander in the 15th. Like, that is the type of package that could get you someone like Dylan Larkin.
He's good, though. He's good. I would do that.
And is there a world where it's like Pettersson for Barzal, and
Whoa,
player for a guy in Pettersson who is nowhere near his peak? So, like, man, oh man, is there a nuclear route for your Vancouver Canucks, Kyle? Or am I just smoking too much here? Too much 420 bias on the show.
That's speaking of nuclear, man. Can we get to this comment? Okay, last comment of the day. It's hard for me to answer that question, Trevor, because I got to analyze. Okay, but anyways, Olivia on the go is saying karma doesn't impact your current life, just your next one. That's crazy. Another deeper one that really changes people's lives forever. It's karma affects your children's lives, yo. Like, they're gonna have to you know what I'm saying? So if you do good things will happen, that's a darker conversation though. Trevor, you can shut me up anytime. I know. But maybe it's being a Findu. Maybe it's being from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Maybe it's because I read a lot of Deepak Chopra. But karma's a bad itch, okay? Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs, hit the like button. Go Canucks, go. And Elias Pettersson, if you listen to this, I believe in you. I do. Positivity. Confidence. Thank you.
You're protruding it all here on Locked On Canucks, buddy. Appreciate you all for tuning in. From the everydayers to the first-time listeners, be good to your neighbors, man. Spread that good karma. Shout out to you and you for listening. Shout out to Nancy Bhawan, man. Aunt Nancy. There we go. A big part of the post-game shows here on Locked On Canucks. We'll get back to that. See a comment here about Roger McQueen as well. We'll get into some draft talk as well. Roger McQueen is a guy, one of the most intriguing prospects in the draft. Something I got my eye on. Dwayne Galvin in the comments saying Seattle wins a cup before you. No chance, buddy. I mean, of course there's a chance. But hey, we've got you covered on here. Locked On Canucks to the highs and the lows. Peace.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.